I was putting away groceries in my kitchen on a Thursday morning when my daughter Patricia walked in without knocking and said in a voice tight with accusation, "Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Did you take money from my purse when you were at my house last week?" I stopped mid-motion, a can of soup still in my hand, and stared at her in confusion because the question made no sense, and I said, "What?" "No, of course not. Why would you think that?" And Patricia's face hardened into an expression I'd never seen before, something cold and calculating. And she said, $500 is missing from my wallet, Mom, and you were the only person who came over that day, the only one who had access to my bedroom, and now that money is just gone. I felt the world tilt as I realized my own daughter was accusing me of theft, was looking at me like I was a criminal. And when I insisted I hadn't taken anything, she pulled out her phone and showed me a photo of her wallet lying open on her dresser. And she said, "I have proof you were in my room, Mom. The security camera captured you going in there, and now the money's missing, and I want to know what you did with it." In that moment, standing in my own kitchen, being accused by my own child of stealing, I didn't yet know that Patricia was lying, that there was no missing money, that she was constructing an elaborate false narrative to cover up her own financial crimes, and that over the next few weeks, she would systematically turn my family and neighbors against me with fabricated evidence and emotional manipulation while I fought desperately to prove an innocence that should never have needed proving. I was putting away groceries in my kitchen on a Thursday morning when my daughter Patricia walked in without knocking and said in a voice tight with accusation, "Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Did you take money from my purse when you were at my house last week?" I stopped mid-motion, a can of soup still in my hand, and stared at her in confusion because the question made no sense. And I said, "What? My name is Ann Williams, and I'm 72 years old. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, where I raised my 2 children, Patricia and Marcus, after my husband Thomas died 15 years ago. Patricia is 44 years old, married to David, with 2 teenage children." She works as an office manager for a dental practice, and she's always been the more dramatic of my 2 children, prone to exaggeration, to emotional outbursts, to creating conflict where none existed. But I'd never imagined she was capable of this. I'd been to Patricia's house the previous Tuesday. She'd asked me to come over to help her organize some old family photos she'd been meaning to sort through. I'd spent about 3 hours there, had gone to her bedroom briefly to use the master bathroom when the guest bathroom was occupied, and had left around 4 in the afternoon. Now, 2 days later, she was accusing me of stealing $500. If you've ever been taken for granted by your own children, treat it like a convenience rather than a person with your own needs and limitations, you know the particular hurt I felt. It's not that you don't want to help. It's that your help is expected rather than appreciated, demanded rather than requested. After missing my doctor's appointment that Wednesday because Kevin had trapped me into babysitting, I decided I needed to have a serious conversation with him. I called that evening after Emma had been picked up. "Kevin, we need to talk about the babysitting situation." "Is everything okay? Did Emma misbehave?" "Emma was wonderful. But Kevin, you dropped her off today without asking if I was available. If you took it because you're having financial problems, just tell me. We can work something out." "I'm not having financial problems, and I didn't take your money." Patricia's expression shifted to something that looked like pity mixed with disappointment. "Mom, lying about it is only making this worse. I know you were in my room. I know the money is missing. Just admit it and we can move past this." "There's nothing to admit. Patricia, why are you doing this?" She stood up, gathering her purse. "I'm going to give you some time to think about this. But Mom, if you don't return the money, I'm going to have to take this seriously. I might need to file a police report." "A police report? For something I didn't do?" "I hope it doesn't come to that. I really do." She walked out, leaving me standing in my kitchen feeling like I'd just been hit by a truck. I called my son Marcus in Atlanta immediately. When I told him what had happened, he was shocked. Mama, that's insane. Patricia knows you wouldn't steal from her. She seems convinced I did. Marcus, she threatened to file a police report. Over $500 that she can't even prove was there in the first place? She says she has security camera footage of me in her room. Being in someone's room isn't proof of theft. This doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. But Marcus, she was so certain, so angry. It was like she really believes I did this. Or she wants you to believe she believes it. Mama, something else is going on here. Patricia doesn't accuse people of theft for no reason. Over the next few days, I tried repeatedly to reach Patricia. She wouldn't answer my calls. When I texted, she responded only once. I'm waiting for you to do the right thing. Then things got worse. I started hearing from other family members. Patricia's husband David called. Anne, Patricia told me about the money. I'm really disappointed. I thought we had a trusting relationship. David, I didn't take any money. I don't know what Patricia told you, but it's not true. She showed me the security footage. You were in the room, Anne. Being in a room isn't the same as stealing. Did she show you footage of me actually taking money? Did she have video of me opening her wallet? Well, no, but the timing matches up. The money was there before you arrived and gone after you left. How do you know the money was actually there? Did you see it? David hesitated. Patricia said it was there. So you're taking her word that money existed and her word that I took it with no actual proof of either? I don't know what to tell you, Anne. Patricia is my wife. I have to believe her. He hung up. More calls came. Patricia's sister-in-law, David's mother, even some neighbors Patricia had apparently told. Each conversation followed the same pattern, that she had evidence, that she was heartbroken but had no choice but to confront me, and people were believing her. I felt my reputation crumbling. People I'd known for years were suddenly looking at me with suspicion and pity. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, stopped me on the street. Anne, I heard about the trouble with Patricia. If you're having money problems, you should have just asked for help instead of stealing. I didn't steal anything, Mrs. Chen. You've known me for 20 years. Do you really think I'm capable of stealing from my own daughter? I don't want to believe it, but Patricia was very convincing. She said she has proof. What proof? Has anyone actually seen this proof? She showed people the security camera footage of you in her bedroom. Being in someone's bedroom isn't proof of theft. But Mrs. Chen was already backing away, uncomfortable. I hope you and Patricia work this out. I was being convicted in the court of public opinion based on nothing but Patricia's word and a video showing me in a room, something I'd never denied. I needed to understand what was really happening, so I hired a private investigator named Sarah Martinez, who specialized in financial investigations. Mrs. Williams, you want me to investigate your own daughter? I want you to find out why she's lying about me stealing money. There has to be a reason. People don't fabricate theft accusations out of nowhere. Sarah worked for 10 days. What she discovered was shocking. Patricia was in serious financial trouble. She and David were drowning in debt, over $85,000 in credit card debt, 2 months behind on their mortgage, facing foreclosure proceedings. More significantly, Patricia had been embezzling from her employer. As office manager for a dental practice, she had access to patient accounts and billing systems. Over the past 18 months, she'd been siphoning money from patient payments before they could be properly recorded, creating fake refund requests, diverting insurance payments, manipulating billing records. She'd stolen approximately $47,000 from her employer. The dental practice hasn't discovered it yet, Sarah told me, but they're planning a comprehensive financial audit next month. When that audit happens, Patricia's theft will be exposed. So she's accusing me of stealing to what? Distract from her own crimes? Possibly. Or she's setting up a defense. If she can establish that theft runs in the family, that her own mother is a thief, it might create reasonable doubt about her own guilt. Or she might be planning to claim you influenced her, that you taught her to steal. I felt sick. She's using me as a scapegoat? That's my assessment. She's constructed a narrative where you're a thief, and she's spreading that narrative to as many people as possible. When her own theft is discovered, she'll have already established that theft is something that happens in your family. Can we prove any of this? I have documentation of her financial situation and evidence of the embezzlement. But Mrs. Williams, this is serious. Patricia has committed a felony. If we expose this, she could go to prison. She's trying to destroy my reputation to save herself. She's making people think I'm a thief when she's the actual criminal. I have to expose this. Are you sure? She's your daughter. She's my daughter who's throwing me under the bus to protect herself. Yes, I'm sure. I took Sarah's evidence to a lawyer, Catherine Morrison, who specialized in defamation and criminal defense. Catherine reviewed everything carefully. Mrs. Williams, you have grounds for a defamation lawsuit against Patricia. She's made false accusations that have damaged your reputation. You also have evidence of her actual criminal activity. Here's what I recommend. We compile all evidence, we send Patricia a cease and desist letter regarding her false accusations, and we give her an opportunity to retract her statements and make things right. If she doesn't, we pursue legal action. And the embezzlement? That's tricky. If we report her to her employer or the police, she'll almost certainly be prosecuted. That's a decision you'll need to make, whether you're willing to see your daughter face criminal charges. I thought about it carefully. Patricia had accused me falsely, damaged my reputation, and was prepared to use me as a shield for her own crimes. Did she deserve protection? Send the cease and desist letter. Let's see if she's willing to make this right. Catherine drafted a comprehensive letter detailing Patricia's false accusations and the damage they'd caused to my reputation. The letter demanded Patricia immediately retract her accusations publicly, apologize to everyone she told, and cease all further defamatory statements. It also noted that we had evidence of her financial crimes and would be forced to disclose that evidence if she continued her false accusations. Patricia received the letter on a Tuesday. She called me an hour later, her voice shaking with rage. How dare you? How dare you hire lawyers and investigators against your own daughter? How dare you accuse me of theft when you're the one who's been stealing? I don't know what you're talking about. Patricia, I know about the embezzlement. I know you've stolen $47,000 from your employer. I know you're facing foreclosure. I know you're in massive debt. And I know you accused me of theft to create a smokescreen for your own crimes. Silence. You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. I have documentation of everything. Bank records, evidence of the embezzlement, proof of your financial situation. Patricia, you've been caught. If you report me, I'll go to prison. Is that what you want? Your own daughter in prison? What I want is for you to stop lying about me. What I want is for you to admit publicly that I never stole anything from you. What I want is my reputation back. I can't do that. If I admit I lied, people will ask why. They'll want to know what's really going on. Then tell them the truth. Tell them you're in financial trouble and you panicked. Tell them you made a terrible mistake. But stop making me the villain in your story. Please, Mom, please don't do this. I'll lose everything. My job, my house, my family. David will leave me. The kids will hate me. You should have thought about that before you decided to steal from your employer and frame your own mother. I didn't frame you. I needed people to think. You needed a scapegoat, someone to point at when your own crimes came to light, and you chose me. Patricia started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what else to do. The debt was crushing us. I started taking money from work just to keep us afloat, and then I couldn't stop, and I knew the audit was coming, and I panicked. So you decided to destroy your mother's reputation? I thought if people already saw you as someone who steals, when my thing came out, it wouldn't seem as shocking. Or maybe I could say you'd influenced me, that I'd learned it from you. I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were thinking clearly enough to fabricate evidence, to systematically tell people I'd stolen from you, to threaten me with police reports. That takes planning, Patricia. That takes calculation. What do you want from me? I want you to fix this. Every person you told that I stole money, you're going to contact them and tell them the truth, that you made a mistake, that I never took anything, that you were wrong. They'll ask questions. Then answer them honestly. Tell them you were under stress and made a terrible error in judgment. But you will clear my name, Patricia, completely. And if I do that, you won't report the embezzlement? I paused. This was the critical moment. Did I protect my daughter or seek full justice? If you retract your accusations, apologize sincerely, and commit to getting professional help for your financial and psychological issues, I won't report the embezzlement to the police. But Patricia, I can't control whether your employer discovers it during their audit, and you should know I've already provided my lawyer with all the evidence. If anything happens to me, if you try to retaliate in any way, that evidence goes directly to your employer and the police. So I'm just supposed to confess to everyone that I lied? Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And Patricia, you're also supposed to turn yourself in to your employer before the audit. Admit what you did, offer to make restitution, get ahead of this. It might not save your job, but it might keep you out of prison. I just can't. Then I will, and you'll face the consequences either way. But at least if you come forward voluntarily, you can control the narrative somewhat. Patricia hung up without responding. For 2 days, I heard nothing. Then I started getting phone calls. David called first. Anne, Patricia told me the truth about the money she took from work, about lying about you. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. Did she tell you why she lied about me? She said she panicked, that she thought if people already saw theft in the family, her own theft wouldn't seem as bad. It's sick. I can't believe she did this. What's happening now? She's meeting with her employer today. She's confessing to the embezzlement. I don't know if they'll prosecute or just fire her, but Anne, she also wants to talk to you. She wants to apologize in person. I'm not ready for that yet. I understand, but Anne, I am so sorry for believing her, for not questioning her story, for treating you like you'd done something wrong. You deserved better from all of us. More calls came. Patricia had started contacting everyone she'd lied to, family members, neighbors, friends. Each time, she admitted she'd made false accusations against me, that I'd never stolen anything, that she'd been wrong. Some people were angry with her, some were sympathetic, but my reputation was slowly being restored. Mrs. Chen came to my house with flowers. Anne, I am so ashamed of myself. Patricia told me the truth that she lied about you stealing. I should never have believed it. You've been my neighbor for 20 years. I know your character. Thank you for saying so. Has Patricia explained why she did this? She was in financial trouble and made very poor choices. That's no excuse for what she put you through. No, it's not. Patricia's employer, the dental practice where she'd worked for 8 years, terminated her employment immediately upon her confession. They also filed a civil lawsuit seeking full restitution of the stolen funds. They chose not to pursue criminal charges on the condition that Patricia pay back the money over time and never work in a position of financial trust again. Patricia and David lost their house. They declared bankruptcy. They moved into a small apartment, and David took a second job to help pay the restitution. The damage to Patricia's life was severe, but it was damage she'd caused herself. About a month after everything came to light, Patricia asked if she could meet with me. We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. She looked exhausted, older, diminished. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. What I did was unforgivable. I stole money from my employer. I lied about you to cover my own crimes. I tried to destroy your reputation to protect myself. Yes, you did. I've been seeing a therapist. She's helping me understand why I made such terrible choices. I think I've always been willing to sacrifice others to protect myself, to make myself look good. And when I got caught in something I couldn't fix, I immediately looked for someone else to blame. And you chose your own mother? I'm so ashamed. You raised me better than this. You taught me right from wrong, and I still chose wrong, deliberately, calculatedly. Patricia, I need to understand something. When you looked at me and accused me of stealing, when you threatened me with police reports, when you told people I was a thief, did you feel any guilt at all? She was quiet for a long time. At first, no. I was so panicked about my own situation that I didn't let myself think about what I was doing to you. But then, when I saw how people were treating you, how your reputation was being damaged, I felt sick, but I couldn't stop. I'd gone too far. If I admitted I'd lied, I'd have to explain why, and then everything would come out. So you were prepared to let me suffer indefinitely? I told myself it was temporary, that once the audit happened and I figured out how to handle it, I'd fix things with you. But that was delusional. There was no way to fix it that didn't involve admitting what I'd done. Patricia, you're 44 years old. You have children. You had a career, a home, a life. And you destroyed all of it because you made bad financial choices and then tried to blame someone else. I know. Do you understand that if I hadn't investigated, if I hadn't gathered evidence, if I hadn't fought back, you would have let me take the fall for your crimes? Tears started running down her face. Yes, I understand that, and I hate myself for it. Hating yourself isn't enough. You need to become someone different, someone who takes responsibility, who doesn't sacrifice others, who chooses truth over self-preservation. I'm trying. I really am. The therapy is helping, and losing everything, the job, the house, my reputation, it's been horrible, but it's also been clarifying. I can't run from consequences anymore. What about David and the kids? How are they handling this? David is hurt, angry. We're in marriage counseling. I don't know if we'll make it. The kids are confused and disappointed. They don't understand why their mom would do something so wrong. I don't have good answers for them. Tell them the truth. Tell them you made terrible choices and you're facing consequences. That's the only answer that matters. Will you ever be able to forgive me? I thought about that question carefully. Maybe, someday. But Patricia, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending this didn't happen. You destroyed my reputation. You made people think I was a thief. You were prepared to let me take the blame for your crimes. That's not something that just goes away. I understand. If we rebuild our relationship, it's going to be different. I'll never trust you the way I did before. I'll always remember what you're capable of when you're desperate. That's fair. We finished our coffee in silence. When we parted, Patricia hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for fighting back. If you hadn't, I'd still be lying to everyone, including myself." Over the following year, Patricia worked to rebuild her life. She got a job in a non-financial role, paid restitution to her former employer, continued therapy, and slowly repaired relationships with her husband and children. She also continued reaching out to me, not pushing for closeness, just maintaining contact, sending occasional texts, calling on my birthday, acknowledging holidays. I responded, but carefully. Our relationship would never be what it was. How could it be? She'd shown me she was capable of profound betrayal, of sacrificing me to save herself. But she was still my daughter, and she was genuinely trying to change. About 18 months after everything happened, Patricia invited me to her daughter's high school graduation. I attended, sitting with the family, watching my granddaughter receive her diploma. Afterward, Patricia pulled me aside. Thank you for coming. It means everything that you're still part of our lives. I'm here for my granddaughter, Patricia. She shouldn't be punished for your mistakes. I know, but still, thank you. Have you stayed clean? No more financial crimes? No more crimes of any kind. I've learned my lesson. Mom, I know I destroyed your trust, but I'm different now. I really am. I hope so, Patricia. I really do. Now, if you're listening to this story, if you've been falsely accused by your own child, if someone you love has tried to destroy your reputation to protect themselves, I need you to hear this. The deepest betrayal isn't when strangers accuse you. It's when your own blood turns your honesty into their shield. Sometimes you must expose the lie, even if it means breaking the illusion of family. You have the right to defend yourself, even against your own children. You have the right to expose lies, to demand truth, to protect your reputation. Love does not require tolerating injustice. Sometimes confronting manipulation, even from your own child, is the only path to reclaiming your dignity and truth. Here's what you should do if you find yourself in a similar situation. First, document everything. Keep records of accusations, conversations, who was told what. You'll need this evidence. Second, investigate. Don't just accept accusations. Find out what's really happening. Often, false accusations are covering up something else. Third, gather evidence. Hire professionals if necessary. You need proof, not just your word against theirs. Fourth, confront strategically. Present evidence, demand accountability, set clear consequences. Fifth, be prepared to follow through. If your child won't make things right, you may need to pursue legal action, report crimes, expose truth publicly. And sixth, protect yourself emotionally. This will damage the relationship. That's painful, but sometimes necessary. Will it be devastating? Yes. Will people judge you for going after your own child? Probably. Will the relationship ever be the same? No, but your dignity matters. Your truth matters. Your reputation matters. I exposed Patricia's lies and crimes. I demanded accountability. I forced her to face consequences. Was it hard? Unimaginably. Did it permanently change our relationship? Yes. Do I regret it? No, because I refused to be sacrificed for someone else's sins, even when that someone was my own daughter. Somewhere in Charleston, there's a 72-year-old woman who was falsely accused of theft by her own daughter, who investigated, gathered evidence, and exposed the truth that her daughter was the actual thief, using her as a scapegoat, who demanded justice and got it, who rebuilt her reputation while her daughter faced consequences. You can do the same.